Good evening and welcome to SportsZone. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, and it is opening day in the MLB. We are officially back. Joining me to talk about it, Brady Whitson and Sam Little. So guys, baseball is back. We're finally here. It's been a long offseason. We talked a lot about spring training, offseason moves, but now it was the real deal. Texas on the road against the Philadelphia Phillies, and it was maybe not exactly what they were hoping for. They made it tight at the end, but as we watched these highlights here, what did you see from the game, Sam?
Yeah, I saw the Phillies starter, Christopher Sanchez, as Kyle Schwarber pimps one over the left field wall. Christopher Sanchez had 10 strikeouts and 3 hits in 6 innings of work for the Phillies, so a lot to be desired at the plate for the Rangers. I know they did make it close, as there's another Phillies home run right there. I know they made it close in the end and forced the Phillies to use their closer, but when you get fanned 10 times in 6 innings, there may be some underlying issues.
Yeah, Sam Haggerty managed to snag that one, but here we go right here, and there's the bomb. The Phillies really got off to a fast start here, going up 5-0, maintained that lead for a long while until what we'll see in just a moment here. But definitely a slow start offensively for the Rangers. Brady, what do you see from them, and how do you think the bats can get going, hopefully going into Game 2?
Yeah, it's just been pretty frustrating. Just the past couple seasons, it feels like it's been the bats have not really been hot at all in any consistent stretch, and it's just frustrating to watch as fans. You're kind of waiting for that stretch of games where they're just going to get hot and it's just going to keep rolling like we saw in 2023.
Yeah,
and we just have not.
Yeah, for sure. And like we saw here in the 9th a little bit, they gave us some hope. Jake Berger with the smash burger bomb there, 2-run home run, and they kept it going. They made it interesting. They made them bring in their closer, but in the end, it didn't really matter as Bryce Harper steps on first, gets the win. Phillies 5, Rangers 3, and that's how it finishes. So they made it interesting. They forced them to put in Jarren Duran. I think at least working the bullpen a little bit showed some life from the Rangers bats, but as we said, too little too late here, Sam.
Yeah, I definitely think that, like my co-anchor here mentioned, we have to realize it is still Game 1. And so, like we mentioned, Nathan Eovaldi kind of getting shelled with 5 earned runs, Jake Berger, and then Andrew McCutchen, who was a little bit of a surprise. I looked on social media and saw that the Phillies booed everyone but him. So, he still got some love in Pennsylvania, and he also had an extra base hit. So I'm curious to see what the storyline of him being 39, making the club as a little bit of a surprise, and then was able to contribute with an extra base hit today.
Yeah, definitely. I was happy when they signed McCutchen to the spring training deal, but to see him make the opening day roster, I think was really cool. He gets the day 1 start at DH. I mean, this is a guy I remember playing with in MLB 2K12,
When he had the long hair.
Yeah, the dreads, right? I mean, he's been in the league for a long time. But I'll ask you, Brady, what do you think it is, for a guy like McCutchen, definitely a vested veteran, how can he influence a younger Rangers team aside from maybe some of your other vets in the pitching staff?
Yeah, I just think, veteran leadership is so valuable, obviously. I mean, that's just common sense. But, I just think when it comes to pitching, I think, the pitching room is very talented. And I think just any type of leadership in that area is very crucial, especially with, up-and-coming prospects that they might have there. And so, yeah, I think it's very valuable.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I look at the pitching staff, and it's like you have Jacob deGrom, Nathan Eovaldi. You have these veterans. With the batting, I feel like it's a little bit different. You have guys like Corey Seager, not to throw any shade there, but I think just to have someone like McCutchen, he's been there, and hopefully can kind of provide something for the youngsters as hopefully they can kind of get those bats going. Guys like Josh Smith, Josh Young, we've seen the potential, the flashes, and if they can just get some more consistency, I think it'd really big for the Rangers.
Yeah, I'm sure that Skip Schumacher didn't want to start his managerial career with a loss. But, baseball happens. You've got 161 more games to go to be able to build on this first year. They've got Jacob deGrom pitching tomorrow, and he's going to have to go light it up for them with the strikeouts, limit the walks, limit the base hits, and the Rangers, squeak out maybe a 2-0, 1-0 victory. But Aaron Nola's no scrub either, who's going to be the Phillies Game 2 guy tomorrow. So I'm more excited for tomorrow. I know that 5-2 isn't what you hope for, but maybe with deGrom on the mound, that kind of lights a fire under the offensive staff, and to score some runs for him.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's interesting just because I feel like losing a game 5-3 is a whole lot better than losing it in a shutout 5-0. So, maybe it was just a bit of a moral victory there in the ninth. Do you think they can kind of carry that momentum into the next game, Brady?
Yeah, I do. And also to kind of build off what he said about the pitching, right? I think that the starting pitching rotation is very good, right?
I agree.
And
yes.
so I just think that that's such a floor raiser for this team. So, yeah, at least they have that going for them at the very least, with the bats not being there right now.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I mean, if you have Jacob deGrom as your number 2 pitcher, in theory, I think that's a pretty good sign. Mackenzie Gore, hopefully we can see something from him, and then the young guys, Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker, guys from Vandy hoping to make something happen in games 4 and 5. But we'll see for the Rangers. But it was a whole opening day around the league. So I want to ask you, Sam, what were some of the games you were watching out for today?
Your Houston Astros were shut out.
Your
Houston Astros were shut out at home by the Angels 3-0. Mike Trout hit his 5th opening day home run of his career, and then it just kind of got worse for Houston from there. I do want to shout out Hunter Brown for having 9 strikeouts. He only went 4 2/3, I believe. So you kind of got to get the pitch count issue worked on. So hopefully with that. And then the absolute sell job by O'Neal Cruz for the Pittsburgh Pirates. If you didn't watch, they had the bases loaded with 1 out. And the Mets hit it to center field. He misplayed it because when you're taught at 10 years old in the outfield, your first step's always back. Ball gets over his head. They scored 3 runs. And then the very next at bat, the New York hit it again out there, and he just lost it in the sun and cost him. And then Paul Skeens was pulled after getting 2 outs in the first inning and then giving up 5 runs. So absolute sell job there from O'Neal Cruz. But hey, he can hit the ball 115 miles an hour. So
yeah, the Pirates-Mets game was very interesting as, Paul Skeens right now has a 67 ERA. And, that's just, I guess, the reality of one game. But to see a Cy Young winner in Paul Skeens getting pulled just like that in the very first inning, only gets to 2 outs. The Pirates team, as you said, it is kind of beyond just him, but definitely a rough one there. They lose 7-11 in that game. So just a lot of high-scoring games, throughout today. I don't know, maybe they were just raring to go. Brady, which game stuck out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I mainly paid attention to the Rangers game, but also, the Nationals-Cubs. Cubs have high hopes coming into this season. They lose to the Nationals 10-4, I believe. Yep. So yeah, pretty disappointing there. But yeah, I mainly paid attention to the Rangers losing 3-5.
As we look around, as we saw some of these high-scoring games, 10-4, 7-11 there, and then the Brewers, man, 14-2 over the White Sox. Not looking a whole lot better for them, of course. The Rangers fall, and then some upcoming games, Diamondbacks and Dodgers, Guardians, and Mariners. So looking at that one, just as it's starting right around now, Diamondbacks, Dodgers, what are you looking to see from that game, Sam?
I hope that Arizona is able to pull it off, but the Dodgers are going for their 3rd straight World Series, and like how the Yankees used to do it back in the day, if you can buy, they're going to buy them. So unless someone can slay the dragon, it's going to be LA versus everybody.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. I'm tired of talking about the Dodgers year after year, but it's hard to imagine them not a favorite. Just looking at Game 1, you think anything can happen with the Diamondbacks, Brady?
No. Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. I mean, need I say more? Yeah, I got the Dodgers.
Yeah, it's a fair one. And then looking at the Guardians-Mariners, this is an interesting matchup. Just 2 teams in the American League that have just kind of been right there, just not quite close enough. The Mariners were really, really right there. Unfortunately, the Blue Jays get the best of them. But these are 2 teams that are, I think, kind of building towards it. I think they're almost there. Sam, do you think either one of these could kind of be top contender in the American League this year?
Yeah, I think this is a potential divisional matchup in October. I think that both of these teams are going to do well in their divisions. I mean, Seattle winning the division last year, and then I think they've got a really good team this year. And also, let's be honest here, the AL Central's not what it used to be. So, and I think that Cleveland with their crew, I think that this could be a rematch in late September, early October.
Okay. Brady, what are you looking to see from this game? Mariners, Guardians.
Yeah, I think the Mariners coming off of a pretty historic season for them. I think they're just a straight-up better team, top to bottom right now.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's pretty simple for me. I got the Mariners in this one.
All right, interesting. It's going to be exciting to see. Opening day almost done, but we got a whole lot of baseball left to go, 161 more games of it. So we will stick around and cover all those later. But for now, we're going to move on and talk some March Madness.
Good Good evening. My name is Amanda Hasbell, and I'm joining you here today in the Union Parking Garage. Today we're going to be going over how to drive safely in the parking garage. Let's go see. Oh my God! Oh my God! This girl just got hit by a car. Let's go see what happened. Ma'am, are you okay? Are you okay?
Did you see that lady hit me with a car?
Yeah, we did. I got it all on video.
Oh my God.
Let's go over here and talk about how we can prevent that.
Yeah, not the hospital.
Well, right now we're going to ask you a couple questions on how we can drive safely in the parking lot. What are ways that we can be aware of our surroundings?
Oh, we can look both ways.
Jenna, also, how about putting the distractions away?
Yes, just like our phones, turning our music down, and also not focusing on our passengers.
Where can you get information on how to get a parking pass?
Transportation.unt.edu.
If you park in a garage, make sure you pay on the app or look for further instructions on how you should pay.
And remember, no pass, no park. Let's all try to keep our mean green community safe.
Remember, we're all in this together.
Drive safe.
Has this ever happened to you?
My bike is gone.
Stolen bikes are an epidemic sweeping college campuses across America.
What am I supposed to do?
It's quite simple. The We Mean Green Fund has partnered with the UNT Police Department to offer free bike locks to any UNT student with a bike. Just show up with your bike in tow and ask.
Now I'll never lose my bike ever again.
Enough worrying. Get your bike lock today.
Welcome back to SportsZone. I'm joined by Cade Codina and once again Sam Little. And guys, you know, opening day was exciting, but it's still March, so we got to talk some March Madness. We are officially into the Sweet 16 as the games have tipped off just a little while earlier. Texas and Purdue in a tight one as we start in the West region. 11, Texas has found a way, you know, starting in the first four, getting two big wins, and now in a tight one against number 2 Purdue. What have you guys seen from this game so far?
I mean, man, Texas basketball is back. I mean, I feel like it's been a while since they've made noise in March Madness, so it's really fun to see. Of course, we're from Texas, so I root for Texas schools, so I'm going for UT in this. But I do want to talk about Purdue. They put on a show during their last matchup. Fletcher the Lawyer. I feel like every year there's some random white boy who goes off, and Fletcher the Lawyer going off for 24 points. He is my whiteboard of this bracket so far. He's been great. As of right now, I don't know how he's doing because I haven't been able to see the game. But yeah, I think the last time I checked that UT's up by 4. So if UT can move on, that's kind of crazy to be. I mean, Elite 8 is insane.
Yeah, they've definitely had a heck of a run. Do you think they can keep it going, Sam?
Yeah, I think maybe the Cinderella run, and yes, I'm using that for the University of Texas. The Cinderella run that they're on right now. You know, one of the last 4 teams in, having to play in the first 4. You know, not supposed to be here. I think that what Sean Miller is doing in year 1 down in Austin is just phenomenal. You know, you weren't supposed to be here, but you are, and he's got the experience of being a championship coach to, you know, take this Texas team who made the Elite 8 a couple of years back with the Tim Allen Jr. teams. I think that, and they actually had lost to Purdue in that game, you know. So I think that maybe a couple of guys that are still on this team from that team, you know, kind of remember that, you know, are playing their hearts out tonight because no one gave Texas a chance in this game, and they're up 4-2. What's the live score at the moment? But you know, basketball is a game of runs. So if they can continue to, you know, stay in there, you know, not get too high, not get too low, and be consistent, then you could see the Horns dance into the Elite 8.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Live updating, 53-51, Texas right now. So it's going to be interesting to watch. Purdue is a very interesting team because they came in, I think, kind of struggling a little bit towards the end of the season and then dominated, winning the Big Ten Conference Tournament. I mean, guys like Oscar Clough stepping up, and you mentioned Lawyer. They just have a really, really strong team. Braden Smith, of course, can't be overlooked, but Texas has found a way to play spoiler. We'll definitely have to watch that one. But another game in this West region I want to look out for is Arizona-Arkansas. And to me, this is one of the games of the tournament. I really have a whole lot of faith in both of these teams. Cade, what are you looking to see in this matchup?
I think this is going to be a bloodbath. Oh, my God. Sorry. But, yeah, this game is going to be really fun to watch. It's going to be smash mouth basketball. You know, it's the classic who wants it more kind of matchup. But I do have Arizona moving on. I feel like they've been the most impressive first seed so far. They've just taken care of business. The last couple of rounds were you didn't really hear much from them because they did what they were supposed to do. And I do have them moving on, but I do think it'll be a really good test to see how Arizona ranks up to the other first seeds.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Arizona's been really strong all throughout the season, all throughout the tournament so far, but I'm a big fan of Arkansas, what they can do as well. Sam, what are you looking to see in this game?
Yeah, like my partner here mentioned, it's gonna be a street fight, and Coach Cal is gonna have his team ready to play. He's a national championship coach as well. Spent all those years at Kentucky's and produced a guard or a first round pick every year, it seems like. But don't sleep on this Arizona team. Like you mentioned, they've almost been number one wire to wire this year. You know, a couple of games that maybe should have gone their way that didn't. But I think that this may be the game of the Sweet 16. So hopefully, you know, even with the other side, I think that this is probably the best in terms of, you know, physical basketball you're going to see. And also, I did want to mention, Purdue hasn't really done anything like we at North Texas celebrate every year when North Texas beat Purdue with Coach McCaslin and that crew. So I'm not scared of Purdue. Like, if they win, so what? But like, they come in as a 1 or a 2 seed. And they get bounced every year. Them and Wisconsin are in the club together. Like, it is what it is.
Shout out Hamlet and 2021 UNT basketball. What a year. But, yeah, it's going to be exciting. And then just going back to this Arizona-Arkansas game, I've gone back and forth. To me, this is the game of the tournament. I really think that whoever wins this game really has a chance to go deep. I'm a big fan of Darius Acuff. And
yeah, I was going to bring him up.
I know, and I know it might sound crazy, but I'm going to go with Arkansas to win this one.
I mean, like, I wouldn't be surprised. Sometimes it comes down to who has the best player on the floor, and Darius Acuff, I think, is above and beyond, like, the best player on that court during that game, so we'll see how they go.
Yep, definitely two great teams, but I want to move down to the next region, Michigan and Alabama here in the Midwest. It's going to be an interesting one because Alabama, I mean, I think a lot of people had them maybe being bounced early. They've had a lot of off the field, all kinds of stuff going on. Michigan's been pretty consistent. What are you looking to see in this game, Sam?
Roll Tide.
Really? Really? Okay.
Michigan, I mean, yeah, they're good, but they honestly, and this is a little bit more of a hot take, I think that Michigan has been the worst 1 seed.
Okay.
In my humble opinion.
Florida got bounced, though.
Yeah.
We're not talking about my national championship pick. It's fine.
He's just salty because his bracket's broken.
My bracket was broken the second that VCU beat Carolina.
Anyway,
but I just think that, you know, maybe Alabama's going to out-athlete them. Okay. And I think that, you know, it's finally Michigan's time to fall. And then let's talk about Tennessee real quick in Iowa State. Not a lot of people had Tennessee maybe getting to the Sweet 16. Yeah. And Iowa State has, you know, kind of been consistent all year. And I think it's going to come down to who had a better run in their conference. I think the Big 12 this year has been way better than the SEC. So I think that the depth of Iowa State's schedule is going to will them to the Elite Eight. Okay,
interesting. A very key matchup there. And I think Iowa State is a very good team. I think they can definitely go deep. I think Michigan gets through Alabama. I don't know. Alabama's inconsistency stresses me out, but they are very athletic and they can shoot the basketball. So it's interesting. Looking at these two matchups, Cade, what are you thinking?
Loki, I have my tournament. This is like the area where I didn't know as much, so I kind of just threw up. So
the Midwest is difficult. The Midwest is weird.
It's just because like it could be anyone, but I went the safe route. I went Iowa State and I went Michigan. Yep. But you never, like again, you said you never know. But, man, what is this? College football with Michigan and Alabama?
Yeah, if Alabama and Tennessee play for the right to go to the Final Four, oh, boy.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
You thought football was bad. Oh, boy.
Ooh. Oh, boy is right. And just like that, I want to move over to the South region because we're in another tight one here with Iowa and Nebraska tied 50-50 right now. These are teams, especially in Nebraska, a lot of people had them being upset really early in this tournament. They managed to win 2 games so far. What are you looking to see in this matchup, Sam?
Yeah, this is just Midwest basketball at its finest. You know, it's the battle of the cornfield.
Yeah.
So with Nebraska being the corn huskers and then Iowa producing the most corn in the United States. Quick little agricultural fact for you. But, you know, it's just, you know, Big Ten basketball. I mean, you're going to see good perimeter play. You're going to see them be physical inside, but also you're going to see them play smart basketball. So, honestly, I think in this game, what they're playing right now, whoever has the ball last is probably going to win the game. And then Illinois and Houston.
Can't wait. I can't wait for this. Oh, sorry.
Well, go ahead with it.
Okay,
Illinois and Houston, go ahead.
Everyone here knows I'm a big Houston rider. I'm ride or die for them. He is Sue for the Astros, but UH is my pick to win this tournament because last year, what happened? We ran out of offense. Like the smash mouth, like hard-nosed defense, it works. It got us to the championship game, but when we just didn't know who had to take the shot. Now we have our guy with our freshman, Kingsley Flemings. I love him. Kingston Flemings. I'm so sorry. Yo, I'm nervous. But yeah.
He's going to be gone next year anyway. It's not gonna matter.
I mean, yeah, so this year he's going to make it count, and he's going to lead us to the promised land.
Who's
so,
we? You got a mouse in your pocket?
Yeah, you know.
I've heard a whole lot of we for the Houston teams today, and I just can't say
That's why I
agree,
said your.
guys.
That's
You did say your, but it's not theirs either. I'm going to be honest. So, Houston, Illinois, though, a very interesting matchup. Houston, as you mentioned, is such a defensive team, and I think that that's enough to get them through Illinois. Going forward, we'll have to see. Sam, what do you think?
Also, that the Houston game is being played at the campus of Rice. And if you know anything, Houston and Rice are about 5 miles apart from each other. So it's essentially a home game for U of H. But I think, with the hometown crowd, they're just going to do what they do. And Illinois, you had a great year, but go ahead and get to the baseball field because
this could potentially age horribly.
You're not going to be pumping up basketballs or going to practice anymore. It's going to be baseball season in Champaign.
All right, here we go. Before we get out of here, let's get to the East because this is, a stacked region, kind of called the blue blood region so far. And Michigan State, UConn, a really, really good matchup here. What are you looking to see in this one, Cade?
Jeremiah Fears, my glorious king, please eliminate UConn. I'm so tired of UConn. I hate UConn. I can't stand Dan Hurley. I'm going to say it. I like Darvin Ham more than Dan Hurley. Do not care. I'm a Dan Hurley hater. It's like the opposite of Kim Mulkey. I can't stand Hurley. I think he's annoying. I want him out of here. Jeremiah Fears, please lead us to the promised land. Lead us. Yes, us.
Don't sleep on this Duke-St. John's matchup. I know that Duke is, kind of the heavy favorite, or Arizona, depending on who you pick. But don't sleep on St. John's. I actually have them winning this game.
Wow.
I don't think Duke gets the Elite Eight.
I have the same thing, too. I have the same
Duke
thing.
they've got the Boozer twins, but they haven't really.
Duke hasn't been, exciting. They haven't been, as dominant as you think they are. They have,
also,
the
they
prime
haven't won a
talent
title in
and everything.
10 years either. But anyway.
Duke is a team that I like. They're not a team that I love.
They're the Aaron Judge of.
I did pick them in this one just because St. John's burned me last year, and I just don't trust them offensively. However, they looked a lot better this year, especially down the stretch, seeing what they did to UConn in the championship game. So this is a really good matchup, too, here. Duke, St. John's, it's going to be exciting. Cade?
Exciting basketball, man.
Duke, St. John's.
I have St. John's. I know, look, Duke is the Aaron Judge of college basketball. They're great in the regular season, but when it comes down to it, when it matters most, they strike out, they miss, they don't come up clutch.
They lose to Lehigh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
I mean, they couldn't get it done with Cooper Flag last year against Houston, so yeah.
And that's the thing. It just feels like they're constantly right there. They have the best guys, but we'll see if they can get it done in the end. We'll have to keep watching, but we're going to move over and talk about the women's bracket coming up next.
Hey Alex, this guy on the internet says he wants to give me money.
That sounds suspicious.
What do you mean?
Typically, strangers who promise you money on the internet have their own best interest in mind. They often use bounced checks, which will disappear shortly after depositing, but not before they've asked for some money in return.
So he doesn't really want to spoil me?
No.
Well, then what should I do?
The best way to handle it is to block and report the suspicious message, or even consult local law enforcement if you've already fallen victim.
So I guess we aren't going to Key West for spring break.
No.
I'm so tired. I feel ugly. I'm not okay. I didn't know UNT had counseling services. Maybe I should check it out. This looks like the place.
Welcome back to SportsZone. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, and we're going to continue with March Madness and talk about the women's bracket. Joining me to talk about it, Carson Stark and Miguel Flores. And guys, the women's bracket it's been exciting this year, and this is one where we don't see as many upsets, as the men's, but there have been some powerhouses, and I mean, I feel like it's redundant, but I don't know where else to start but UConn. They have just been absolutely incredible in this tournament, the duo of AZ Fudd and Sarah Strong have just willed them to victories, and it just hasn't even been close. UConn will take on North Carolina in their Sweet 16 matchup. Carson, what are you looking to see in this one?
I'm looking to see more of the same from UConn as we've seen in the first 2 rounds of women's. Like you said, they're just so dominant, and they've been dominant for a very long time. I was making the argument pre-show that they might be the most dominant sports program in all of the NCAA. They just win by so much. They play to their identity. They score the ball. They're really star heavy, but also the surrounding cast does a good job of helping those stars. And North Carolina, no slack to them. They've been a really good team all year, but UConn's just too dominant, so I expect to see more of the same.
Yeah, it's been interesting. UConn has beat some really, really good teams.
By
Miguel,
a lot of points.
What do you think North Carolina has to do to stay in this one?
Can they do anything? Like, I mean, I hate to piggyback and go back to UConn, but if you looked up dominant, UConn women's basketball would show up.
Yep.
I mean,
Gino Auriemma, that's his picture.
UConn has had some times where they've had a little bit of turnover issues, and they kind of get, I don't want to say complacent. I think if UNC is able to go in and capitalize off those issues, then we can maybe see something. But you still have to stop Sarah Strong.
Yes.
You still have to stop Ozzie Fudd. I mean, that's one of the best 1-2 punches I've ever seen. So.
Yeah, Ozzie Fudd has been looking like Paige Beckers. I mean, putting up almost identical numbers to Paige last year, and it just feels like this tradition of dominance is just continuing at UConn. It's going to be exciting to watch, but sticking in this region, Notre Dame and Vanderbilt, a very interesting one. I was happy that I predicted this entire region. I had Notre Dame advancing here. They got a little bit of an upset over Ohio State. I just think that behind Hannah Hidalgo, they've really put on some good performances, and this is going to be a tough one against Vanderbilt. But I have Notre Dame moving on once again. Carson, what are you looking to see in this game?
I think we're seeing a great matchup between Hannah Hidalgo and Michaela Blakes, because Michaela Blakes is averaging 27 points and shooting 36% from the line.
Yes.
That's a lot of points, and that's a lot of scoring. That's a lot of good basketball being played. And of course, Hannah, she's incredible for Notre Dame, and that's another team that has had a lot of success in past tournaments. You know, going back to the days with Enrique Ngumawale, who was once a Dallas Wing. So. Is she still a Dallas Wing? Yes. She is still a Dallas Wing. I'm sorry. But that would be a great game. And I think whenever you have a matchup like that, it's instantly going to bring eyes to the screen. It's something that I honestly will be tuned into. I think Vanderbilt will end up coming out on top. I think their help from the start, or their role player help is a little bit better than Notre Dame, but it'll be an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, definitely fair. What are you looking to see in this one, Miguel?
I'm following up with Carson here. I think Vandy's going to get the win. Okay. Both teams have had defensive issues at times during the season, but this will be a shooter showcase. Hannah Hidalgo and Michaela Blake are top 3 scorers in the nation right now, and they're just so dominant and fun to watch. But I do think Vandy does have the edge here. So
okay. All right. It's going to be a great one to tune into, but I want to move on to South Carolina and Oklahoma. I had Michigan State in this one. I'll be honest, missed that one. But Miguel, I know you're pretty high on OU. Do you think they could make some noise against the 1 seed?
All right. I hate to bring up regular season, especially in March, but OU did get the upset. It was an overtime win, but like I said, this is March. OU was at home. They're a young team. Aaliyah Chavez is a baller, but you have to stop that great South Carolina defense. I don't think they'll be able to do it. This is a regional showcase, and I'm going with South Carolina, but things could get shaky. I think if OU could come out loud and fast, then we could see something.
All right.
I don't totally disagree. I also have South Carolina, but OU's, I think people are kind of underrating with the buzz around this matchup right here. I think everybody's thinking, like I mentioned with UConn as well as Notre Dame, you know, the past experience and how South Carolina has been good for so long with great coaching and everything like that. OU has been playing pretty good basketball, and Miguel, you mentioned that they beat them in the regular season, or they played them tough. So that'll be very interesting, but I actually look for an X factor for South Carolina being Medina Okot, who averages a double-double. So whenever you can establish the rebounds, you can really limit second chance opportunities for the other team. That's what really gets your team going into your set and playing efficient basketball. So that's why I go South Carolina. But like Miguel mentioned, don't count out the seniors too much. They'll put up a good fight.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. South Carolina, another one of these just dominant women's programs. It's going to be tough, but yeah, don't write off OU. We'll have to watch. This one, though, TCU and Virginia, the 10 seed. I said we don't usually see upsets. We saw it here. A huge win for Virginia over Iowa. They won 83-75 in a bit of a shocker, really. Virginia has managed to get all the way here, but TCU is another team I'm really high on. Carson, what are you looking to see in this game?
I think I've had some bias towards TCU because, you know, DFW, I have a coach over there on the men's side that coached me in high school and everything like that. TCU, and also it helps that they're at home. They're playing in their own arena, and those Horned Frog fans really get after it. Virginia with a great upset. I think it was cute. It was awesome, but I like TCU. I like TCU in this one. I got a chance to actually tour the TCU basketball facility, and I'm looking at the heights of the teams. The girls are huge. Yeah. Like I don't understand. I know that Virginia has some height as well, but TCU's been playing great basketball all along, and I think having that extra support in Fort Worth, Texas, where they play, as opposed to Hadonki, Virginia. I don't know. Sorry, no disrespect to the Cavaliers. I don't know where they play at. But in this one, I don't really have too much analysis on it. I just like TCU being at home. I like the basketball they've been playing all year, and I like them actually beating South Carolina next round.
Okay, wow. TCU has really been on the come up as a basketball program. I think their women's team, and especially their coaching, has just been really, really strong over the last few years. It was one of the reasons Haley Van Lith decided to transfer over there, and it just feels like that legacy has continued. It's going to be a really good matchup here, but Virginia, as we said, a 10 seed in the Sweet 16, do not normally see this. Miguel, do you think they can make any more noise?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I didn't even take into account the regional factor, so I think TCU definitely has an advantage there. But also, if they do want to win, Virginia is going to have to come out firing, because there's been times where during the season they're like a slow starter, and TCU has defensive lapses. But if you could get out quick firing on offense, maybe there's a chance. But I am going with TCU in this one.
Okay, it's going to be interesting. And I want to move over to UCLA. And this is another very interesting one, because with UCLA, I just feel like they've also been very dominant throughout the regular season and throughout the tournament. I hate to go with all the 1 seeds here, but it just feels like
it's hard not to.
It's hard not
It's
to,
very
and
hard
it just
not to.
feels like
Yeah.
they've once again just been really strong. What are you looking to see in this one, Miguel?
Lauren Betts, she's so awesome to watch. She's just great. UCLA has been fun to watch all year. I'm looking for a dominant performance over Minnesota. Don't get me wrong, they're a good team. These teams have also faced in the regular season. UCLA took care of business. Minnesota has not looked good against any top-ranked team. So I'm going to stick with UCLA here. It's going to be dominant, and I think it's going to be quick and easy.
Yeah, Minnesota, a team I had getting here, but I've always felt this is exactly where the road ends. Carson, do you agree, or do you think they can make something happen?
I agree. Minnesota, like I said with OU, is a team that you don't want to necessarily just ride off automatically. And I think I want to agree with what Miguel said about the last game. If you can start off strong, you can throw that first punch, maybe cause the first time out, play fast, play efficiently, you have a chance. But this UCLA team has just been so good all year. They're shooting nearly 38% as a team from the three-point line. And I think I mentioned this on Saturday on Mean Green Mania, how important it is to be able to knock down threes and be able to put pressure in your defense, because once you knock down threes, it really forces them to come out, and you can really get the ball inside and start playing UCLA Bruin basketball. So for those reasons, I have UCLA. But again, I want to give credit to that Minnesota Gophers team. They've been playing great ball all year.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about 1 seeds, but 1 2 seed that a lot of people are really high on is LSU. They'll be taking on the 3-seeded Duke. LSU's been really impressive throughout the season as well. Definitely one of the stronger of the 2 seeds. I know it sounds like 2 is still really high, but I just really think that they could make some noise. Duke, LSU, what are you looking to see in this one, Miguel?
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be a closer matchup. 2 and 3, it's going to be a fun one to watch. LSU has been here. We've seen them win a national championship in recent years. They're very talented. Flo J. Johnson is awesome to watch. So I think LSU is going to take the win in this one, but also don't count Duke out. They've had some injury issues recently, so maybe that's kind of why I'm doubting them, but I'm going to go with LSU here pretty heavily.
Okay. And now just keep moving down. We have Texas, and Texas is a team that is very big, very physical, and it's going to be really exciting to see what they can do in this matchup against Kentucky. I'm a big fan of this team. Carson, what are you looking to see in this one?
I'm looking to see Madison Booker. She's been great all year. She was good last year. She was a great player in high school, and just greatness prevails. So Kentucky's actually been playing pretty good basketball. I think they kind of get overshadowed by their men's program a lot of the time, rightfully so, with the legacy that they have. But the Kentucky women's basketball team plays good. I feel like we're giving credit to a lot of girls' teams this year, because it's been a great year of basketball, not only for the men's side, but for the women's side as well. But Madison Booker, as well as Rory Harmon, is going to be some of the X factors for Texas, and they've been leading on those girls all year, and I think they'll continue to do so. I think that'll result in a Longhorn win.
Okay. Miguel, what are you looking to see in this matchup?
I agree, man. I want to say something. It'd be great to be a Texas fan right now. They are rolling in all cylinders.
Every sport.
Exactly. And this women's team is no exception. They're also doing really good. They're playing well. And I'm not really down them here. I think Texas is going to go in. It's going to take a win. They're in Texas. They're definitely going to have an advantage.
That's true.
I'm going with UT here.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. Big shout out Sarah Graves. You probably don't know her name. She's kind of the self-proclaimed personality hire of Texas. Doesn't get a whole lot of playing time, but goes in at the end and provides a spark for this team. She's kind of an X factor, and I really think it's gonna play a part. I think Texas moves on and gets this one. One more matchup: Louisville and Michigan. Another exciting one is Michigan, another team just dominant in both men's and women's. Louisville has been interesting as well. It's a tough one. I have Michigan in this one. What are you looking to see in this, Carson?
I'm looking to see Michigan-style defense. This is another one where I look over to the men's program a little bit, and just the basketball identity that's up there in Ann Arbor. Their defense is just phenomenal. They also have some really good scorers on their offensive end with Olivia Olson, who's a guard who gets out there. She doesn't shoot the ball the best from the three-point line, but she does a good job of facilitating to get her teammates involved. Not that the assist levels aren't as high as you may expect, but just her ability to draw attention from the defense and then getting the ball inside and things like that. And then, like I said, I just look for their defense to overpower Louisville. But once again, don't count on Louisville. If they get up to a fast start, they might have a chance.
Yeah, it's always tight. You know, when you look at a 2 and a 3, you can never count anyone out. Miguel, who are you looking for in this matchup?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say sorry to people who are watching because there's not a lot of diversity here. I'm going Michigan as well. I mean, they look really good. Both these teams have had times where they go through turnover issues, especially Louisville in key moments. So if Michigan's able to go in and capitalize off that and play solid defense throughout, because there are times where they lack, I think Michigan's going to have this one pretty easily. But Louisville will put up a fight. It will be a close game.
Yeah, lots of great games. Make sure to check out the rest of the men's ones tonight, and then the women's starting Sweet 16 tomorrow. It's going to be exciting to continue to watch March, but we're going to move over to the ice and talk some Dallas Stars hockey coming up next.
Hey, are you here for the premiere? Come take a sneak peek with us.
Stop. No.
Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
Welcome back to SportsZone. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, and we're going to talk some Dallas Stars hockey coming up next right here. I think the Stars have been interesting because looking over the last month, they've been excellent, and I mean, just dominant. And then over this last week, it just feels like some shakiness. Joining me to talk about it, Alex Salazar and Mauricio Garcia. Guys, I love the Stars, and I think they've been really, really strong. It's just been, I think, a little bit maybe of a speed bump over this last week. Alex, what have you seen from Dallas?
Well, like you alluded to right there in your intro, I mean, this season has been an incredible one for the Stars. I mean, they needed a season like this after firing Peter DeBoer, and they've gotten everything they wanted. Before this last week, really, in their last 14 games, they were 13-1, and then this week happened. 1-4 in their last 5 games, a 6-3 loss to the Mammoth, a 3-2 loss to the Wild, 2-1 loss to the Wild, 3-2 to the Vegas Golden Knights, and then most recently 6-4 to the New Jersey Devils, who really aren't really competing for a playoff spot at the moment. It's just very concerning. Jake Ottinger was pulled in 2 of those games, so it's just really not what you want to see, especially when this team has clinched and is trying to move up and trying to get past Colorado.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I wanted to intro this show, honestly, with the fact that the Stars clinched the playoffs. And I don't want to put that aside by any means because that's huge. You are in, and, you know, I just think that we've kind of gone to expect higher from this team. And it just feels like over this last week, we've definitely seen some struggles. Mauricio, what do you think has really gone wrong, and how can they bounce back and get back on track?
I mean, to be honest, really nothing I don't see, like, kind of sort of a problem. I mean, yes, we've hired in, like, kind of a low setting, but I mean, like, we got to look back. 10 wins in a row. We can't let that, like, slide away. I mean, what I see from this isn't our ceiling. We're still missing our key player.
Yes.
You know,
Mikko Rantanen is still not healthy.
Is still on IR. I mean, that's the one thing we can't really, like, look away from. He may be coming back soon. You know, he's returning to activities. And, I mean, that's the one thing we can't, like, kind of ignore. He is going to be, like, that kind of, like, key player and that key, you know, that key stat that's going to help us try and push us above to where we are right now. I mean, Alex, what do you think about this as well?
Yeah, you mentioned Mikko Rantanen. I mean, on ESPN, he's listed as a potential return date for this next game after this one against the Islanders. So, and I really don't think, obviously you want Mikko Rantanen back. I mean, he's their best player by a mile, but they've been able to handle themselves without him in the lineup because he's been out since the Olympic break. And other than this past week, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, 13-1 in these past 14 games before this losing streak that they've been on. So without Rantanen, they've been doing just as good as with Rantanen. So adding him back into this lineup once he's healthy again can only make things better for the Stars.
But I mean, you gotta look at it from this point. He still leads the team even after getting injured with 50 assists so far. That kind of playmaking, that kind of like skills to be able to get everyone open and trying to get them to like score every now and then, like that's something you can't look away from as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, his production just cannot be replaced. And I think what we've seen is really some overperformance. I would say, you know, throughout most of this time, players have been able to step up, and this is a deep team. I talk about it all the time. The Stars are not a first line or a second line team. They go 4 deep, and I'm really excited to see what they can continue to do. I believe they can bounce back, but I do want to talk about the game currently happening right now because they are currently down to the Islanders as well, and it's like, you know, it's another one here, just hoping to see a little bit more. Alex, what have you seen in this game so far?
Yeah, the first goal from the New York Islanders came really early from Bo Horvath. I believe it was about 5 minutes in. Yes. It was the Islanders' second shot on goal. It looked like when you saw Ottinger just never stall the puck. And the second period, no goals by either team. But here early again in the third period, Callum Ritchie makes it 2-0. At least with this one, the Islanders are competing for a playoff spot. They're tied currently with Ottawa for the last wildcard spot in the East. But if the season ended today, Ottawa would be in, I assume, for goal differential. But the Islanders are playing with a lot right now. I mean, you don't want to say that the Stars are almost coasting through the season, but this recent stretch, I mean, it kind of looks that way, especially with huge losses with 6 goals given up in 2 of these games.
Yeah, the Stars, as you said, they're clinched, so it's like we don't have to worry about that aspect of things, but you definitely want to try to pick up that momentum, especially as we go down this final stretch. Mauricio, what have you seen so far from this Islanders game, and how do you think the Stars look to bounce back?
I mean, looking at this, like previewing it, I mean, one of the things I was going to write down was like, keep Bo Horvath away from that goal, and what happens? 5 minutes in the game, he scores. I mean, like, that's the one thing you can't, like, allow. They're star players, especially with Hyman, who was also on a scoring streak, you know, 5 goals in the last 10 games. That's something you can't really look away from. Like, this Islander team, as what Alex was saying, is playing for a playoff spot. They're going to use everything and anyone on that bench, on that team to try and, like, push forward for that playoff spot against Ottawa.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. The Stars, you know, game's not over yet. You know, I don't want to write it off, but definitely late in the third period, not looking the best for Dallas, but looking at them as a whole, 43, 17, and 11 for now, second in the Central Division, and this is a stacked Central Division, but they've definitely lost some ground as they were just a couple points away from the Avalanche. Alex, do you think this is ground they can make back up, or do you think Colorado might just run away with it?
I think Colorado's going to run away with it. I mean, the way that they've been playing this season, and with the amount of time that's left in the season, I just don't see a way that Dallas can catch them. I don't think Colorado is going to have a slide anytime soon. So right now, it's really about fending off the Wild and keeping home ice advantage against the Wild when those playoffs come up.
Yeah, definitely. And I know we've talked kind of a lot of negatives on this block. It hasn't been the best stretch over this week, but as you said earlier, I don't want to ignore the incredible run that they've been on really over the last month as a whole. So I want to ask you guys, who are some of your MVPs and most underrated players for the Stars? I'll start with you, Mauricio.
I mean, for me personally, it's got to be underrated with Thomas Harley. I mean, come on now. He is like, ranked 9th with assists right now, 32, tied with Bovar right now with points totaled. I mean, he was our savior back in that Devils game, like the Carolina game a couple while back. I mean, like, come on, a defensive man who is already on his, like, having the career high last year, playing his, butt off even after the, after all that. But I mean, like, Alex, who do you think is your underdog for the season?
My MVP for the season easily, you look at guys like Jason Robertson, Mikko Rantanen. I mean, those are the stars of the team. But in my opinion, the MVP of this team is Wyatt Johnston. 40 goals on the season, team leading and a career high, 38 assists career high, 78 points on the year, another career high, and 23 power play goals, a new Dallas Stars record. I mean, He's been incredible all season, and he's only 22 years old, so he's got so much more to go. You can't even really say that he's hit his prime yet. Like, we don't know if he has yet. He's got so much more to go. It's incredible what he's done so far.
It's insane. I mean, you got to remember he's 22 years old, and he is breaking these records. You know, it feels like halfway through the season. I know it's a little more than that now, but he's been incredible. He's my MVP as well. It's just hard to go anywhere else, even though there's so many options. But then for my underrated player, I want to talk about this guy right here. You might not know his name because it's hard to say, but it's Justin Rixkovian. And this is a player who is, you know, a fourth liner, but he has come in and he's, you know, stepped in when needed. And he just brings a physicality and a level of play that I've just been really, really impressed with. Him on that line with your guy, Maverick Bork, I think has been really, really excellent to watch. These young guys really would make this team so amazing because you have the vets, you have the young guys, you have the middle ground. It just feels like you have so much depth on this team. Alex, tell me about your most underrated.
Yeah, I really wanted to go with Rixkovian. I like what he is. He's sort of the pest of this team that gets under these guys' skins. But the player I went with, like you said, Maverick Bork.
Yes, sir.
14 goals, 18 assists, and 32 points on the year, all up from last season. And he's been playing on the first line and been handling himself in the absence of Mikko Rantanen. And he's only in his second full season, so with a lot more, when he gets more playing time, maybe next season or with the time that he's been getting this season, he could develop into a 25 to 30 goal scorer for this Dallas team.
Yes, I'm a big fan of Maverick Bork, former first-round pick for the Stars. This is a player going into the season I was really, really high on, hoping he can kind of take that next step. I really believe he has. It's going to be exciting. But we're going to move over and talk about the NBA and WNBA and their potential expansions coming up next.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on NTTV Nightly News. I'm Edison Stewart.
And I'm Alexandria Teeters.
She was the oldest woman to ever medal in the slalom run. So I believe that she's now the youngest. Yes, the youngest and the oldest.
Prominent women's sports is right now, especially when women's hockey is one of the biggest growing sports in the world right now.
If somebody told you, kind of coming back to the past and telling your past self that this team would be one win away from making the college football playoff, how would you react knowing that you've covered this team for so long?
Let's talk a little bit about the strengths of this UNT basketball team. Like, what are we good at? When it comes to UNT, we've always been a slower paced team, and that has continued into the Daniel Robinson era.
And welcome to a very special edition of Prove It or Lose It. Matthew.
Can I have Silverstone? It's the only name that looks familiar.
Welcome back to SportsZone. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, and we're going to talk some WNBA first. We'll get to the NBA in a minute, but they just agreed to a brand new CBA, collective bargaining agreement, for the WNBA. This has been a very hot topic throughout the offseason, trying to get this figured out, because looking over here at the salaries, there have been a very clear pay gap. Looking at 2025, minimum salary of just $66,000, $120,000 for the average. The Supermax just $249,000 and a salary cap of $1.5 million. Compared to some of the insane numbers we've seen in the other leagues, it's definitely smaller. But in 2026, we see a big jump. Minimum salary up to $300,000, average $600,000. The Supermax finally taking off a little bit to $1.4 million, and the salary cap all the way up to $7 million. So a huge jump from 2025 to 2026. We've seen a huge development of the WNBA and women's basketball as a whole ever since, you look back at the 2023 March Madness run, looking at Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, all these players that have really transformed women's basketball and created a newfound interest, especially in the WNBA, and it reflected in this collective bargaining agreement. Joining me to talk about it, we have our panel of analysts over here at the board, Q Cherry and Jaden Crumpton. Guys, this is a very significant development for the WNBA. It's a huge step that I think is really long overdue. And finally, maybe job's not finished, but a huge improvement going from one year to the next. Jaden, what are you looking to see, and how significant is this jump?
I think this is great, and it's obviously extremely significant, right? I mean, the average salary going all the way up to $600,000, that's how much that's, I think, the MLB minimum, right? This is great for women's sports as a whole, too. You're going to attract a lot more athletes who see this as like an actual money-making career now, right? And in these situations, I'm always going to be on the side of the players who are actually out there doing the work and putting their bodies on the line, as opposed to, the owners who are making the money off them. This salary cap being expanded, it's great. They're talking about expanding the league with more teams now. I think them just investing into the players and investing into the league is going to lead to a lot more success for the WNBA.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, because you look at the WNBA over this past few years, and it just feels like it was, to me, kind of sad having to see players like Brittany Griner having to go overseas to play because they just couldn't make enough money in the WNBA. And then we saw Unrivaled take off in popularity, and it just feels like I think that kind of put some extra pressure on the WNBA to lock in and get this done, and they did. Q, what are you looking to see in these increased numbers?
Increased numbers? Honestly, hold on. I'll answer that question, but I'm going to take it a little bit like a different direction.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, I like this new CBA agreement, but I like to highlight the people at home who think the WNBA loses money or just isn't worth this new CBA agreement. I would say you're wrong. The WNBA is growing actively with players such as Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers. The WNBA just signed a new multi-billion-dollar TV deal, so they are gaining revenue. And even so, with the new CBA agreement, they'll now be taking in 30% of the revenue, which I do think it should be a little bit higher than that. Since as my co-analyst Jaden said, that they are putting their buyers on the line. I think they should be getting more revenue, maybe 40 to 45%. Maybe I'm pushing it, but that's just me. And you asked me a question again. Can you repeat that one more time?
No, you're good. I think you answered it for us. And it's interesting because I think this is, as we kind of said, long overdue. And I think it's good that the move happened. There was talks about a potential lockout. It was really curious of, are they going to get this done in time? They did end up getting it done. Jaden, do you think this was a good deal for both sides?
I think absolutely. Like I said, the WNBA investing in its players benefits them as well as the players. Like I said, more players are going to funnel in wanting to take part in the league. There's more money in it. Like he said, they've got a huge new TV deal, so they can afford to do this. They're not hurting themselves by giving the players what is their fair share. So I think it definitely is a win-win CBA for both sides.
Yep, certainly. And then the second part of the equation here is the WNBA is also expanding now, moving to 15 teams this season with the Portland Fire as well as the Toronto Tempo. So looking, you expand this, you expand the league, clear growth for the WNBA, and I think it's really important to continue to expand. 15 teams, now just still half of what the NBA has, but I think continued expansion could be in the future. But for these two right now, Q, how are you looking for these next two teams?
Honestly, why can't we add more? I'm trying to see more teams. 15 teams, that makes the playoffs so boring. I want to see 20 teams. Heck, I want to see 30 teams like the NBA. Yep. I get it's step by step. The WNBA is growing little by little. But at the rate it's growing, it's just too small. I'm trying to see a team in Vancouver. I'm trying to see a team in Mexico City. I'm trying to see a team in Nashville, Tennessee. Shout out to Nash in the booth. I'm trying to see more teams.
Yeah, and I think it's a great point because we've been waiting for this, and I think it's finally happening. It's kind of a baby step here, but I think it matters, and I really think that this can kind of lead to continued momentum as we go forward. Jaden, how impactful do you think this expansion is of these two teams, and would you like to see more?
I think it was well overdue, and like you said, I would like to see more. I think we definitely will. I think this is a league that in the next decade or two is going to get into the 20s in the number of teams they have because there's just so much money in it now. There's so many players in it now. It just makes sense for it to expand. There's no need to keep such a low number of teams, right, at just 15. You can make the league a lot more competitive and a lot more entertaining by adding these teams, and they can afford to do it, and it'll be a benefit for them.
Yeah, definitely. They just announced the expansion draft will occur on April 3rd, so watch out for that coming up pretty soon. But I want to talk about the NBA next because they're also looking to expand. We've heard a lot of rumors over the past few weeks of will this happen, and now it's really become definitely more of a when and not if. I think this is happening. Seattle and Las Vegas, the two front-runner cities for this. It's going to be interesting. Q, what are you looking to see from potential NBA expansion?
NBA expansion. Honestly, I really like with the WNBA and NBA. I like how some cities shared the team. I think we should get a team again. Mexico City, maybe Vancouver. I'll be too close to Seattle Sonics. Maybe gotta work out the logistics. And Nashville, Tennessee. I want to see those cities with their ever-growing sports population and sports attention get more NBA and WNBA teams. Now, if you want to move on to this board, honestly, I think this conference, the setup could be a little bit better.
Okay, this is just a concept. This is something we drew out of a potential expansion because right now, obviously, 5 teams in 3 divisions for each conference. So this is just kind of a blueprint of potential. Q, tell me what you'd change.
Now, I do understand that these 4, I'll go up here first. I changed out the Timberwolves and Pistons. Everyone knows about the bad boy Pistons and Chicago Bulls rivalry. That would make this division so much better. With all these rivalries with the Pacers and Bucks, Bulls and Pistons, honestly, a division full of spite and hatred. I like that. We need more in the NBA. Let's see, what else, team? Jay, what you think? I'm drawing a blank a little bit.
Well, I'm definitely going to look here to the Southwest and South Division where our Mavericks are. I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, guys, you've got 3 Texas teams and an Oklahoma City team, and you're not going to throw them in the same division? I mean, think about this. Cooper Flag, Victor Wembanyama, Shai, all in the same division, battling it out every year. I think this could be awesome. I also think this sort of expansion going to the NFL format with 8 4-team divisions, we can completely change up the playoffs. We can get rid of the play-in. We can have division winners actually matter in the NBA. I think there's a lot of really cool possibilities here, but one of my top things on the wish list would be the All-Texas plus OKC division.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jay, you mentioned the playoffs. Now, listen. Modern NBA, I think we can all agree the playoffs don't matter or the divisions.
Wait.
Matter
I was like, the playoffs.
The divisions don't matter anymore.
Absolutely.
Now, I do agree with that. Like, if we had strict divisions, that maybe the last 3 games you wouldn't see many superstars sit out if it's a close division race. But I think if a team's dominating, they should be dominating. If let's say the 4th team, let's say the Nets are doing better than the Hawks. I don't know what universe that happened. The Nets should still make it over the Hawks, even if they have a better seeding.
Yeah, it's a great point, like what both of you guys made. I like the idea of the Texas-Oklahoma division. I think that has to happen if we're going to do this. And I love the Pistons being in there as well. It's very interesting just looking at this as a whole because, as you mentioned, Q, the divisions haven't mattered for a long time in the NBA. Ever since they went through that format, everyone's I think a lot of people don't even know the divisions because they just don't impact playoff positioning whatsoever, especially now with the play-in. It just doesn't matter. I would like to see that matter again. I think that's definitely a great point. As for Seattle and Vegas, definitely the clear front runners of this team, or teams to potentially be in here. Sonics potentially getting back, and then Vegas, we'll see where they go in that direction. Jaden, do you like these 2 cities as the expansion cities?
I definitely do. The Sonics, people in Seattle and the Pacific Northwest have been calling to get the Sonics back for a long time. It was kind of weird. It's a thing that's always been talked about is why they even take them away in the first place. And then Vegas has become a real sports hub, whether you like that or not. It's a real sports hub in the U.S. right now. And it's just a bad business deal to not put a team there, right? We saw how successful the Knights have been since the NHL expanded into Vegas. NHL also just put a team in Seattle who's doing really well. Yes. I think the Sonics definitely are going to have a huge fan base. That's a loyal fan base up there in Seattle. You see how they treat the Mariners. I think that's a great city to go to. And then Vegas, maybe not as much on the fan base side, but more on the business side. It's good to have a team there.
Yeah, it's really the 2 sports, the only sport each of those cities are missing. I really think it'd be a good move. One last thing I want to talk about, though, guys, as long as we're on rules and potentials and everything, there's been a lot of controversies over the 65-game minimum in the NBA. And what that is to qualify for NBA awards, whether that's All-NBA or the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, all those major awards, players now have to play 65 games. This has been true for the last couple of years. But we've seen players not reaching that mark. We saw Victor Wembanyama last year. We've seen Cade Cunningham and the Pistons struggling as of late, and Cade potentially being out of the running if he doesn't meet those 65 games because of the collapsed lung. All of these little things here, Cade has been incredible all year long and now might not qualify for NBA awards. I want to ask you guys, do you think the 65-game minimum is the correct move, or do you think it should be amended or go away completely?
Jaden?
I have a pretty strong opinion on this. If someone plays 50 games in an NBA season, they're probably not going to win an award anyway. So why have this rule that could limit potential winners? It's entirely possible for a player to play 60 games and be more valuable than one that plays the full season. And those players that maybe get hurt and play a super valuable 60 games get robbed of an award for pretty much no reason, right? Value is value, no matter how many games you play. If you're a lot more valuable in 60 games, you should win the award over someone who maybe stayed healthy all season but didn't contribute to their team as much in the general span of the whole year. I just think it's a pointless rule. Like I said, if you don't play that much, you probably won't win an award. And it just blocks potential award winners and doesn't really do anything else.
I agree completely. I mean, thinking about Wemby, like, I think he was absolutely the defensive player of the year last year, but he doesn't get it. Q, what are you thinking?
Calm down, everyone. Is it too much to ask, if I'm your boss, for you to show up to your job, 60, 70% of the time? Like, come on, the 65 games, like, we expect that out of our superstars. Kids show up with, poster boards. Shea, I want to see you. Luka, I want to see you. But to see them just sitting on the bench in street clothes like they're Anthony Davis, come on now, that's not what people want to see.
I understand it because, especially looking at like a load management perspective, but Cade Cunningham can't help that he collapsed his lung. And I just don't think that should take away from the incredible season he's had all year long. I don't mind the idea of it. I just think it needs to be lowered. I think 65 is too much.
Personally, I value Naz Reid playing 72 games over Cade Cunningham playing 55. The best ability is availability. End of story.
Hot take. Jaden, one last one?
I mean, like I said, it just seems so pointless to me. If someone is more valuable, they're more valuable. End of story. And at the end of the day, also you talk about superstars sitting out. It's a competitive sport, right? If an NFL team has clinched the playoffs, they're not going to play their starters in Week 18 and have them get hurt for no reason. Like, of course, it sucks if you're a kid and you're going to see the superstar and he's sitting on the bench. But as a fan, don't you want your team to play it safe so that your superstar doesn't get hurt going into the postseason?
As a fan, I'd like to enjoy the game and see my favorite superstar play and not show up in day-to-day clothes.
All right, it's a fair point. It's a fair argument. We're going to continue to monitor how all of this goes down. But thank you guys so much for watching SportsZone. Make sure to give us a follow on our socials at NTTV Sports. Make sure to tune in for SportsZone next Tuesday. And, of course, we'll be back here next Thursday. But for now, that's it for us. Thank you so much for watching SportsZone, and we will see you all next time.